Welcome to the greatest show on earth.
Last night I cut the light off in my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark.
This is combat culture.
Welcome to the greatest show on earth.
This is combat culture. Welcome to the greatest show on earth.
I'm so mean I make medicine sick. That's bad.
This is combat culture.
Hey, good evening, Africa. Good evening, Nigeria. Welcome to Combat Culture Africa. Right into the introductions this evening. I'm on the microphone right now is Oche Young Jollof Edache. Right across from me is my brother, Innocent Skelly Edache.
What up?
And right beside him is Mayo Icebox Okunu.
Also, the Minister of Fitness.
The Minister of Fitness himself. And our resident ninja in charge, Chidi B-Boy Demille Nwankwo.
Hola.
There's a backstory to this.
Yeah, I'm guessing it has to do with Claudia.
Of course.
I'm sure.
You saw him shameless on the
Yeah, bro. Did she send you the recording? She didn't send you the recording.
I haven't been on
You
my
guys
phone.
stop talking about recordings like this as if it's blue film or something.
It is, bro. It is. All right, man, guys. Today's topic is pretty personal. I think all of us have something to offer here, and it is on the MMA business in Nigeria, or in better put, the lack of an MMA business in Nigeria. Nothing is happening here, but something is happening everywhere else in the world. Why is that? So, first things first, Mayo, why are there no local promotions? And even the ones that we've heard of that have existed, what's the story behind them?
All right. So I was going to jump in there. It's not that there is nothing happening, but I mean, if you compare it to what's happening everywhere else, yeah, it feels like nothing. But it's starting. There's little sparks here and there, and feeling like someone who came from a town. And when I say town, I'm talking about Sunderland in the UK. Coming from a town where I pretty much was able to witness a little bit of the grassroots of MMA coming up from there. It's similar. It's the same kind of thing that's happening here. It's going to just sprout like this, little bits, little factions of things happening here and there, but then eventually it's all going to come together, like we were even talking about in the episode last week. So, I mean, little promotions have tried. People have come up with stuff, but it's still crazy to think that we opening up here, Body Rocks 2017 in this big space with a boxing ring, and then 2019 having an octagon. We were the first MMA facility in the country. It's still crazy to think that 2019, you know, to have the first octagon. Like
2019 was the year Conor McGregor Khabib happened, right?
Was that?
No, that was.
Oh no! Okay,
that
so
was 2019.
I think the
That was 2019.
Yeah, I think the octagon was 20.
It was October 2019, I think.
The octagon was 20.
Because I watched.
No, it was 2019.
It was 2019.
That's when my face got messed up.
Yeah, it was 2019.
So the world's biggest mixed martial arts event happened in 2019, and Nigeria didn't have one octagon,
MMA
one
facility.
cage.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
So many other things have come up. We had the African Warrior Sports Championship.
Those USC.
Yeah, but they're not Nigerian.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
No, the shows are predominantly somewhere else. I think it might be even East Africa. So they have fighters from everywhere. But that was their first. When we started knowing about them, that was them trying to root in Nigeria. Yeah, they're not actually Nigerian. The majority of the company is not Nigerian.
Do we know what happened to them? We haven't seen anything.
They're still
about
doing stuff, just not in Nigeria. So they're doing something soon, but I think it's, I don't know, like maybe Cameroon, but it's not here.
I see.
So things are coming up. There's that. There has been what's the other one? African something. They do the Dambe. But obviously that's not MMA. But I just feel like all these things are all part of it.
Yeah.
The fact that combat is a thing now, you can go watch every Sunday in Day.
Oh, you can watch combat in Day.
Yeah, not MMA, but that Dambe.
Oh,
Yeah.
Every Sunday, it's a thing. In the sun, like there's no covering. For it to be happening every Sunday, there must be people that are interested in it.
Yeah, I am, and just to augment that, I think the last time I left Abuja was February of 2020, and I was in Lagos, and one of the things we did was we went. No, was it that trip or maybe it was another trip? But we ended up on the outskirts of Lagos in one of these, for lack of a better term, slum areas. And they had their Dembe pit. There was a gang that ran it, and there were people and they had their shows.
I call them a gang.
Those guys were a gang. And they had their shows. So it's a thing. And even in northern Nigeria, like Dembe is old. So it's
for
a
the
thing.
sake of listeners that don't know what I think we should say what it is.
It's a form of traditional. The closest thing I could liken it to is boxing, from northern Nigeria, where I think it's their right hand that's wrapped in rope, and there's other stuff in there. And the left hand is free. So basically, the objective of the sport is to land shots with the wrapped hand, using the left hand to sort of clear away and parry, and all that stuff. So that's what it is in a nutshell.
It's kind of crazy.
It's
pretty fun.
It is. And sorry, one thing to add: the major Dembe content maker, I don't know what they're called, has a shockingly high number of subscribers on YouTube.
CNN featured them, bro.
That's probably where it came from. It's like hundreds of thousands of
African Warrior
subscribers.
Championship.
I think that's what it is. I follow them on Instagram. I should remember that.
Okay, since that is a very good way to actually go into what comes next. So like last year there was AKU, African Knockouts. I think Chidi, you were approached by them at some point, right? Someone we trained with as well, Shegs from ABB Boxing, went on the show. He came third place, right?
Yeah.
And like, it was a good thing. We were excited, but a lot of the stories that came out of that event were pretty heartbreaking. And we're going to go into what we've heard. Okay. So we heard that nobody has been given their cash prize in full yet. The guy who even took first place hasn't been paid in full.
So there was different prizes. There was the cash prize and there was the cars.
The car. He got his car from Gilly.
So the cars got given because
they were sponsored.
Gilly is the automobile department of Mikano, big company here that does generators, and so that was already on ground. Those prizes were already on ground. So Mikano did their part. They paid that part out. But the cash part is a no.
And they had so many sponsors. Their poster, like the lower third of their poster, just sponsors. So it's not like there was not a shortage of money coming in. I know you have some So Mayo, why don't you kick that up? But everybody should give their own opinions on why do we have to Nigerianize everything? Even something as pure as MMA, because MMA is a meritocracy.
Funny enough, the owners of that show are not Nigerian.
What? Let's go into that. All right.
But so speaking as someone who's put shows together both in Nigeria and in the UK, one of the hardest things to do is actually to get people behind you, sponsors, and we were able to do that. So I was able to do all my shows without any sponsors back then. I was able to get all my fighters were paid. That's in the UK. Over here, there's an agreement. We pretty much tell them from the beginning, hey, we're not making any money from this show. We just wanted to fight. Are you up for that? You game? If you're game, good. If you're not, we give you a token. Maybe we look after your little welfare, but we're not paying you for anything. And that's not very different from the UK, because you don't get paid as an amateur.
That's right.
You get a ticket deal. So you sell tickets and you make money from that. Great. And I'm always open to that. So I try to explain that, but a lot of people it's the attitude is different here. So part of me wants to understand, like, okay, things might have been hard for them, but if you've made commitments, you said what you're going to do, and you have that many sponsors with you, even if the sponsors are not giving you all money, you should find a way to make it work.
That's right.
It's part of the business. If you're going to do it as a business, you should do your due diligence and say, well, this is how much we're making.
Exactly.
Know how much we're paying.
Or the numbers don't work for this amount.
Don't say this is what we're going to pay.
Exactly. That's what pisses me off. It's the big promises that you make to people. And the truth of the matter is, most of the time, if you're honest with people and say, hey, for a lot of guys, even the chance there, I'm sure that some of the guys who are on that show, if you ask them, they're so passionate about fighting and what it can do for them and their future, that they will tell you just the opportunity to be on DSTV every day
for a huge platform.
For 8 weeks, I'll do it for significantly less than they were promised. So don't come in telling guys, we'll give you however much money it was, and then not deliver, when honesty could have actually gotten us to a better place. And another thing I'd like to add too is we have an opportunity to skip a level of the development of this sport. If you go back to the first UFC, or it's first several UFCs, pay wasn't great, but they were fighting several things. The sport wasn't licensed in most parts of the US. It was John McCain, the dead US senator, referred to it as human cockfighting, and swore, was adamant that this thing should never get licensed. Now it's licensed in, I believe, all 50 states. But we don't have that acceptability problem. People watch MMA all the time. You go to almost any barbershop in this town, MMA is on at least one TV. So we've skipped that step. So there's no reason why we need to go through the fighter suffering, the dark ages, the people not getting paid, or the people getting shafted. You get your eye busted up, and you don't get paid at the end of the night. We don't need to go through that. But something tells me that some people, in this country will still force fighters to go through that kind of period.
With all these problems, it kind of just makes you wonder, is it that the show didn't do that well, that's why the fighters didn't get paid, or obviously the Nigerian effect when it came into the whole case?
Maybe it's both.
Maybe it's both.
I even have some inside information about the
have
whole
some
payment as well.
But
So apparently, the main guy that won the show, I can't remember his name right now. But even the car deal, car that they showed on TV, that was not the car.
Oh my god,
that was not the car.
Lord.
So
you can see it on the show, right?
Yeah, we can.
So the car was given to him 3 months after the show ended. So after the show ended, they
did a ceremony.
They did a ceremony.
This is your car.
But that was not the car. That was not the car.
Okay, at least they got the car.
Yeah, they didn't have the car at the moment.
But I'm sure they promised him something nice, and then afterwards.
And for the pay issue, he's gotten, I think his pay was how much was it? 6? No, it was 10M. So he got 2 at the moment. So I think they're paying him in bits and bits. Which is that's the question right now. Is it that the show didn't do that well? That's why they don't really have even enough money for the fighters. Because even the promotions
I would
or
have
the
thought
sponsors,
all those things would be locked down first.
Before you start.
This is the prizes locked, irrespective of what's happening.
I found out that was not the case when they came on. They approached me, and then my manager, Blessing, as some of you might know on the show, she spoke to them, and then she found out that these people are not organized enough.
Okay, now this is going to lead. Do we have time?
Yeah, we still do.
This is going to lead to the main thing that I heard, and this is from a really, really good source.
This is going to be good.
Yeah. So the entire concept of the show was stolen
From someone I know?
from someone I know, a friend of mine. Yeah.
Stolen by who?
So the people who you know as the
Is it the same people we know?
I like how the audience is going to be like, what are these
just
guys?
like we're playing the hustle. So the people who you know as the propagators of the show, as the owners of AKO, were supposed to be in partnership with somebody who was the actual person who conceptualized the entire show. But he got shafted. Took it from him.
So they got his idea, they took it for
Kicked him to the
themselves.
side.
Just went round with it.
And now I
without
know
him.
who you're talking about.
Yes, round with it without him. So, I mean, not to be superstitious, but aren't you bound to fail when
What
shit like
goes
that?
around comes
Come
fucking
as a
around.
bitch.
man.
Yeah. So if you're gonna fuck somebody over, you're gonna get.
And let's be honest, the people that you're referring to, they are not fighters.
They're not.
They have no idea about fighter welfare.
But
They
the
don't know
person-
how
the
I don't
partner-
care about it.
nothing.
The partner
That you were talking about.
Yeah, the person who they're supposed to partner with.
Yeah.
Was a fighter.
He is
a fighter.
Fighter coach.
Yeah,
he
that
was
says
supposed to
it
be
all.
a coach on the show. He was supposed to do all these things.
That says it all.
And then if you see who are the coaches on the show?
Exactly.
who are the coaches?
Yeah, I saw some guys in Lagos on the beach.
Who
That's
who
the same
fuck
episode I watched.
Yeah,
Who the fuck is it?
Yeah, man. At the end of
Not
the
to
day,
shit on them,
yeah.
but I am shitting on them.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are they?
You're exactly
no
right.
one.
You're
This
exactly
is-
right.
The person I'm talking about is a serious. This person has been in the UFC before. Fought in the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Oh.
If anybody, he has legit experience of being in a house as a fighter in the topmost organization.
And from what you told me, he has connects with former UFC
He knows
fighters.
everybody.
Has
They're his friends.
talks with
training
Kamaru
partners.
Usman,
They're his
everyone.
friends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it sucks. It sucks. But that's a very good segue into the next brief question, which is, how can we make this shit better? Like, it's at the end of the day now, like, we're all here in different avenues. Like, we're representing different arms of the business: media, fight promotion, fighter management, fighters. How do we make it better?
Can I jump in this quick?
Shoot.
Okay, so so in Nigeria here, public transport, there's a thing they do in taxis. So the taxi always wants to be as full as possible. So most cars are 5 people, 3 in the back, the driver and the passenger and the front seat passenger. But they always want to have like 5 people in the back
And
2
in the front
in the front seat and passenger. So that's how many? 5, 6, 7, 8 people in the car,
total.
as opposed to 5. And my brother always says these things like, when we stop letting them do this to us, like letting them force extra people into the car, that's when this is going to stop. Otherwise, it's never going to stop, because the VIO, the vehicle inspection officers, and the road safety guys are supposed to stop shit like this one, but they don't do it. So if I get in a car, in a taxi, and they say, oh, okay, we're not going to go until 2 other people come back, I need to get out of the car and say, I'm not getting on if you're going to let anybody else in there. More people need to do stuff like that. So what I'm trying to get at is that we need to make the fighters know exactly what their value is from now. We need to do what we're doing here when we're training people, not just the training, not the skills acquisition. It's the value as a fighter, how you even look at it as a business. You are a business
That's
now.
right.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Your skill set is a business.
Yeah.
Everything you're doing is a business. You need to learn that from now, so that nobody can shit on you.
Yeah.
And I had that advantage. I got trained by, my first coach was a guy called Les Hollywood. He was the highest paid fighter in his ranking and his weight class for the longest time. So I started off like that. I started off being the highest paid amateur, because I remember my first fight, I sold 200 tickets to get 5 quid a ticket. No amateur was ever heard of making £1,000 in his first fight. And that's what I did. And I just always had my value. And then because I understood how to run a show, no show promoter could do. I will run the numbers for you. I will tell you how much I'm going to make you. I'll tell you how much my fight is going to make. I'll tell you how much you're going to deduct when you pay the opponent. Even if you pay the opponent more than I am, and I'll tell you how much I'm going to take from you. And I'll tell you, this is to your profit. I said, my fight alone can pay for 3 fights on your show. After I've given that argument, what are you going to say?
That's true.
You have me. So when people come in, promoters might find them annoying, like, oh, this guy knows
the whole
everything.
point.
But he knows his value.
Yeah.
So we need to drum that shit into our people. They need to not go out there loose. They need to go out there feeling like, you have a team behind you. You got this behind you. Because otherwise, they will just take advantage of people. Slavery continues.
Yes, I agree with what Maya said, because that also comes back to my own case as well. I knew exactly what my value is, and I knew that basically there's no show without the fighters.
Yeah, fighters,
I
exactly.
stated my ground very early on, and they already knew that, okay, this guy is trouble, but then obviously he has brain. So that's one thing. Most of them, or they were like, most of the fighters there, they were like, okay, no problem. I just want to fight. I just want to gain money. But then they weren't asking the right questions. When I started asking the right questions, then they were like, okay, they stopped. They put like a break on it, the whole thing, and they were like, okay, yeah, maybe we should actually work on these things that this guy is saying, that these are actually the right things. So it got to a point where me and Blessing were actually telling them what to do, and that was really bad.
Wow.
So that's why we just had to pull out. Then secondly, how to fix this, coming back to your question, I think for a show like this to really thrive, we need to go deep into the production side of it. You can't really go to, for example, let's say a regular guy goes to NASA and starts teaching them maths. It's just dumb. You need to get like a proper mathematician or scientist to actually do exactly astrophysicist. Sorry, man. Astrophysicist to actually do the work. You can't just get like random people, actors or stuff like that. From the production itself, they need to get the right people, the people that actually know the job, actually knows it inside out, and that was one thing I noticed they lacked.
Agreed.
Yeah, man. It's like, well, you know what we can do, right? Let's actually use that to link into your own question of the day. What would it take for you to fight? Like you've trained, you've been sparring partners for people in Dubai. You've trained with people around the world. You have your own skill sets that you've built. You're marketable as it is now. You can fight in any promotion. What would it take to get you to fight? here in Nigeria, not anywhere else here? What would you have to see?
Trust me, there's a huge list, but let me just break it down like really short. First of all, obviously the money has to be good. That's the top of the list.
What's the idea of good money?
Yeah. How much would they have to pay you per fight to entice you?
Let's say
Would you be fighting
Nigerians.
pro?
Yeah, in Nigeria.
Yeah.
You fight pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nigerian standards. Let's say an average fight, depending on obviously the amount of fights you've had. If you're like starting up, then I'm guessing like, let's say from 400.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing below 400. Just put it like that.
And
That's just fair.
but
then
then-
if you've had like, let's say above 10 fights, then obviously that should be like 800 to that's
reasonable.
standard.
I would
Then-
say 5 fights, man. I would say once it goes
After
above 5
five,
fights, they should bump your pay up.
Yeah.
Because for the for a value of naira, it's constantly dropping.
Yeah.
$400 naira is less than $1,000.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, so
It's about $800.
and then if you have to pay your coaches as well, because
Yeah, exactly as well. And then
400,000.
400,000.
So yeah, 400,000 naira is less than $1,000.
When you guys was speaking in the future about currency. What did I say? He said
400 naira.
Well, actually, I was speaking our past because there was a time where, in the 70s.
Okay, all right, man. Yeah, and then
yeah, also obviously there needs to be insurance. Like every fighter needs to be
That's
insured
right.
because again, this Nigerian mentality that won't work in this mixed martial arts
It'll carry
industry.
you to traditional bone setter.
Or like it's not my business, so like your injury is on your own. That shouldn't happen, and you need to take care of your fighters. Then for them to give you a good show, for them to make you money, so it works hand in hand.
Yeah, and just to throw something in on that, I think we focus a lot on what would work for the fighters, but promoting isn't easy either.
It's really not.
It's extremely
Actually,
expensive. So
I used
we
to
have to think about that side as well.
expensive and difficult.
Yeah.
I always said, after doing my first show, I said fighting felt easy for me. Wow. Promoting is
It's way harder. It's way harder.
okay, guys, we've exceeded our time
Yep.
for the day. I think promotion, right? We're going to make that next week's topic.
All right.
So, guys, please follow us on all social media channels. We're trying to keep it short and compact so that we can keep churning this out consistently. So just bear with us. If some parts felt rushed, just bear with us. It's still a work in progress. Please follow us on social media. It's Combat Culture AF on Twitter, Combat Culture Africa on Instagram, Combat Culture Africa on Facebook, combatcultureafrica@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. And all of us have our individual social media handles displayed at the intro of the on the YouTube video. On the YouTube video upload. So yeah, I thought I got it perfect, but I screwed up at the end. So all right, guys, as usual, 3, 2, 1. Peace.
Welcome to the greatest show on
To the
earth.
greatest
Last
show.
night I cut the light off in my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark. Dark.
This is Combat Culture.
Dark.
Welcome to the greatest
Bam.
To the greatest show on earth.
Dark.
This is Combat Culture. Welcome to the greatest show on earth.
I'm so mean I make medicine sick. That's bad.
This
This
is Combat Culture.
Culture.